one game away. Blow up. We're playing for something, man. We're playing for something. It's gotta mean something to you. It gotta mean something. Everything you got. Let's finish this.
Do it, fellas.
Let's go.
Let's do it, fellas.
Finish 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Finish.
Hey, beef with me, I shoot the block, don't die, we spin again. See a 10 and shoot my shot like bitch, I'm tryna win. Shoot to the stove for the drink, you and all your friends. Taking shots after shots, I'm tryna get it in. Yo, beef with me, I shoot the block, don't die, we spin again. See a 10 and shoot my shot like bitch, I'm tryna win. Shoot to the stove for the drink, you and all your friends. Taking shots after shots, I'm trying to get it in. Back in the day, I wasn't getting them hoes, they was ignoring the play. Even if I was headed to their destination, they wasn't going my way. Shooting my shot, they wasn't going for that. I promise they going today. I put that dick on them, fuck them and lick on them now, I swear they just don't know what to say. I swear the mama a freak. Been ass over and beat cheeks. I don't know everything, but if that hoe go to testing me, I got a cheat sheet. Stay going hard, no weak me. Bust on the face, ski. We taking shots, then we repeat. She say it's on with Patron. I know that goose get her loose. I tell her come in and take off her shoes, and then I go knock in the boots. Me and you in the coupe, tryna slide what it do. All of my screws are tight than a bitch, but hers I'm knocking them loose. I'm so faded and fucked up, I can't stand on my feet. Still me and you in the jacuzzi, what I wanna see. Leave the crib at 4 a.m. and don't come home to 3. Don't fuck with no wannabes. Trip on me and you gon' see. You beef with me, I shoot the block, don't die, we spin again. See a 10 and shoot my shot like bitch, I'm tryna win. Shoot to the stove for the drink, you and all your friends. Taking shots after shots, I'm tryna get it in. Yo.
But I got a question. I just want to know something. So tonight's Thursday night game was the Eagles and the Texans. Now, I'm not complaining about how bad the game, I'm not doing none of that. I'm not complaining about the game. I don't care how good or bad the game was. That's not my complaint. My complaint is, coming into this season, we knew the Eagles could be a good team based off of the roster and the moves that they made in the offseason. There was absolutely no indication that the Texans would be a good team this year. We had no type of, there was no signs pointing to the Texans having a good season, right? So why in the fuck would the Texans be scheduled to play on a primetime game, period? Now listen, maybe every team have to have a primetime game, at least one on Thursday. And if that's the case, then you got me. We was bound to have to see this game regardless. But I just don't see how they cannot figure out this Thursday night schedule to where ahead of time we have better games scheduled. You know what I'm saying? Because this is the game that technically kick off the week. And it don't even feel like this is the game that kick off the week at times this year. And last year. And one of my things is I don't want to complain about the product that you get, because regardless, it's not going to be the best product regardless, because the teams that's playing on Thursday probably just played on Sunday. So when you playing 2 games in 1 week, it's going to be tough to have a great game in that Thursday night game. Now listen, we done seen teams and players have great Thursday night games. These dudes built different. But for the majority of dudes, it's a tough turnaround. But that's not my complaint. That's why I'm not complaining about the actual product that we get. My complaint is, why is the Eagles Texans schedule? Like I said, if this is one of them things where they have to schedule these teams, then fine. But I just don't understand how you could look ahead of time, if there is a way around this, and schedule the Texans to be on primetime. I understand you got Dallas, who got to get 6 primetime games, even though I don't even like the Dallas get the type of primetime games they get. But this ain't about Dallas. This is about Thursday night matchups. Now, I think it was last year and the year before that where they was doing divisional games on Thursday. And I thought that was a dumbass idea. Why would you schedule a divisional game on a short week? That makes no sense. It's knowing how important some of these divisional games are. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I understand to an extent where you say, well, we got to put the Texans on Thursday night at some point in time, so we might as well put them on Thursday when they have the best, like one of the better teams they're going to play against, so they can get some type of rate. And I get that. And this was technically the best outcome because they played a decent game. They go on TV against a team that's undefeated, so you'll get the viewership and whatnot. But I just don't understand, unless, like I said, all those other stipulations is true, why we keep scheduling certain teams on Thursday Night Football or on primetime period. Like, I'm really confused sometimes about these Sunday night games. Like, the Steelers done had Sunday Night Football games like the last 2 years, and I'm not understanding that. I don't understand Steelers having primetime games, period, unless they playing against the Ravens. To be honest with you. Like, but that's my only question. That's all I want to know. Like, are they able to fix this to where, and I understand if they said in the past, like, we don't want to give the best games to Thursday night because we don't really have a great announced team, yada, yada, yada. Well, you do now. You have Kurt and Al, and I'm imagining next year they're going to make sure great games is scheduled for Thursday because you have a great announced team. So you can make this a whole thing now. Like, this don't have to be a half-ass production. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of the dudes they got at that pre-booth right now, like Richard Sherman, Tony, Carissa, Fitzpatrick, and Whitworth. Like, I'm pretty sure they all cool, but I'm not feeling that right now. Like, they just don't get me energized to get to the game. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe, another year of them. Maybe give them another year and let's see how this thing, how I'm feeling it. I mean, not my opinion don't matter, but you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying right now, I don't watch the Thursday night Now, to be fair, I don't really watch too many pregame shows anymore. Not gonna lie to you. It's very rare. I don't watch Monday Night Countdown before the game. I don't watch the Sunday before the game. And I don't watch Thursday night before the game. I also don't watch the after shows. So I'm going to be honest with you. I'm probably not the best person to take the opinions from when it comes to that. I used to watch these things, but they became like certain guys on shows was allowed to be so ignorantly biased and say some ignorant things about players. And I was like, you know what? Don't need to watch these shows anymore. But let's talk about Thursday Night Football. So, the Eagles headed into Houston to take on the Texans. Of course, the Texans, I think, is like 1-5-1 headed into this game. Now they're like 1-6-1. The Eagles undefeated at 7-0, I think it was. Now they 8-0. And I know some people... Now, I just thought about this. I'm going to be real irritated. Well, I'm not going to be irritated at all, but I know it's going to be a lot of Eagle fans that's going to get real irritated when they wake up in the morning and realize that the Eagles are not being celebrated. The questions that all these analysts and sports shows going to have is, are the Eagles a contending team or a serious contender at 8-0 because they struggled to beat the Texans? Or are the Eagles a legit team after struggling to put away the Texans? Like, a lot of dumbass questions going to be asked, not realizing that this team just played on a short week. Like, Jalen Hurts looked great. I think so I said I like the fact that Jalen Hurts, I already thought he had a couple weapons with Smith and Goddard. The thing about adding A.J. Brown, a legitimate number one receiver, this is why I harp on number one receivers all the time when I'm talking about Baltimore. When you have a number one receiver like an A.J. Brown, it don't just help the quarterback. Look at how hard it is to stop the Eagles offense, the passing game specifically. Because you're trying to do so much to commit different guys to taking away A.J. Brown. Devontae Smith get open. Dallas Goedert get open. You got running backs in the backfield that's running around getting open on screens and shit like that. So it's so tough to take away different pieces of this offense because they have so many great players. But it all comes together when you have a number one receiver who gets legitimate attention and still wins matchups. Like, A.J. Brown is a fucking stud. The Titans not re-signing this dude makes no sense to me. Like, that's the type of receiver you would want for Malik Willis. And now that you have Malik Willis, about to have him on a rookie contract, why would you not give A.J. Brown an extension? That shit don't make no sense to me. Like, I understand a lot of Well, I'm never going to understand how drafting a dude, letting him turn into a stud, helping him, developing him to a stud, and then letting him walk. That shit's never going to make sense to me, or trading him. But it really don't make sense to me when it comes to the Titans, because I understand you paid your defender and yada, yada, yada. But why, again, do you let A.J. Brown walk? Like, because I don't understand the reasoning to why you let him walk. Because there's so many reasons that said keep him. And he ain't never been, like, it's so funny how every time these dudes get their contracts coming up, they start talking about how bad these dudes is in a locker room and all that type of shit. But you never heard that about A.J. Brown. So, I don't know, man. It's very, and then to say, one of the things that really irritate me is, you know, the way our offense run, we don't need to pay a receiver like that. What? That makes no sense. You literally are getting bailed out because you play in a bad division. If the Titans were in any other division that had actual great teams in the divisions, like the Bills, the Dolphins, the Ravens, like any other division that had great teams in it, not just the Colts, the Jags, and the Texans, this fucking team would not be able to get away with doing what they've done basically this year. I'm not going to say the last couple years, but hey, even then, I'm just saying, what other team aside from the 49ers, who have not won their division every year, get away with just being able to run a running back to death? And granted, King Henry is a different type of animal. They ain't getting away with that shit in no other division. I know some divisions is down right now, but almost every other division in the NFL have top-notch teams. And I know the Titans done been great in past years. I'm not talking about them years. I'm talking about really I'm putting on a cape for A.J. Brown and defending A.J. Brown with the decision they made to get rid of him based off of what I'm seeing this year. And a little bit of last year, basically. Because A.J. Brown was one of the reasons your team stayed relevant last year and stayed afloat when Derrick Henry got hurt. And look at how great he had been. I'm going to tell you one of the reasons it's also crazy that you trade away A.J. Brown. When you have a dude who is a clear number one receiver, like, I understand Tennessee fans and the Tennessee organization wanted to try to leak shit to try to make it seem like, oh, well, he might not be a number one, you know, because y'all ignorant. Like, but everybody else on the outside looking in knew that A.J. Brown was a number one. The wild thing about that is he played in a run-first offense where Derrick Henry was getting a stupid number of carries. And still, we knew he was a number one receiver. Do you know how hard it is to put the type of production on the field that he put on the field in the offense that he was in? People talk about how hard it is to play in Baltimore. No, it'll be hard for a receiver to play in Tennessee. And look at what A.J. Brown was able to do. And he didn't get paid? That's insane. But you just look at his impact on the Eagles offense. Like Dallas Goedert and Smith, I don't think they get open, and the others, I don't think they get as open as they get if not for having A.J. Brown on the field. A.J. Brown just changes the stratosphere. That's not what people, what's the thing people be saying? He changed the motherfucker changed life for everybody on the field. I can't think of the other shit I was thinking of, but he changed life for everybody on the offense, not just Jalen Hurts. But it is a A++ that it helps Jalen Hurts also, because that's his boy. But the Eagles offense was able, in my opinion, to do really whatever they wanted to for the majority of the game. I think really what happened in this was the Texans ran the ball good. Pierce had a breakout game, basically. They was able to run the ball very well. The Texans probably end up in this game longer and have a chance to actually win this game, if not for the fact that Davis Mills is I don't want to say but he is inaccurate, man. Like, this dude do not put throws exactly where you want a quarterback to put the throw. And it's so wild, bro. And I appreciate Kirk and them boys for not critiquing every single motherfucking throw that he made like some analysts would do if they was watching this game. Because I just think that's irritating, listening to an analyst critique a quarterback for every single throw he make. And then vice versa, analysts who like a quarterback, so he blamed every single person around the quarterback for the mistakes that a quarterback make. And it's not hard to not do either of the two. I just want to put that out there because I know some people are like, well, if he can't do neither one of them, what can he do? Neither one of them. There's a lot of great analysts out there in color commentary who don't have to do either of those two, and they are phenomenal at their jobs. But when Pierce had a great game tonight, and I liked everything that they did with Pierce, and you can clearly see. Now I really don't want to push this because I really don't want to tell a team like, oh, be a run first offense. I say that for the Packers because they don't have a choice right now. The Texans is a team that's rebuilding. So, I mean, I guess to be competitive and not look like you losing on purpose, you could run the ball. But I would just be happy that Pierce is like a running back that I know I have when I get a quarterback. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't necessarily be trying to make this a run-first offense, just in my opinion. But one of the ways that you're going to make this not be or transition this offense into having a good quarterback, like they're going to end up getting a top pick in the draft because Davis Mills is not a good quarterback, and they're going to replace him. And I think they're going to replace Lovie Smith also. Davis Mills just inaccurate, bro. Like, he made a throw tonight on that first drive. They had a drive where they scored a touchdown, and they would have scored a touchdown on a throw he made to a wide open dude if he had just made a better throw. They called it a back shoulder pass. Nah, it was just hella inaccurate, and the receiver saved it. And he had throws like that all night. And so, and I done said this before, like, I went back and watched Davis Mills' season last year in the offseason before the season started. Plus, I done watched some Davis Mills this year. Davis Mills is the exact quarterback that that I think he is and thought he was. Because I understand people like, oh, man, he did yada, yada, yada for the Texans because Deshaun Watson didn't play. And Davis Mills ain't no good quarterback, man. He is a backup quarterback. I also don't think that the play calling, I don't want to judge that because, like, I think the play calling for the run game was good tonight for the Texans. That's what kept them in the game and what kept the possessions away from, the Eagles didn't get a lot of extra possessions tonight aside from the fact that I guess you could call it a split because they turned the ball over, had their first fumble tonight, but then they got a turnover on the interception. So I guess you could just call that you could chalk that one out. But either way, they limited the possessions the Eagles could have because they ran the ball so good. Now, towards the end of the game, when you losing by 2 scores, basically, and a field goal don't change it. Like, say you kick a field goal right here. It's still a 2-possession game. So, not being able to, they tried to run play action off of the run game. I thought they didn't do it enough towards the back end of the game. Like, you have a drive that it take a long time. You get down into the red zone, but you end up having to take a field goal instead of scoring. I think one of the reasons that happens is because they committed too heavily to the run. Like, I understand you running the ball good and you don't want to get away from that because that's what you're doing great, but you're down 2 scores. So you need to be trying to mix the pass game in also. The offensive line was getting kind of blitzed towards the end of this game by giving up crazy sacks on Davis Mills, but I don't even think it was just them being bad. I think they had plays where they were bad, but I also think Davis Mills is bad, and like his pocket awareness is kind of shaky. But the biggest reason I thought that they struggled off of not being able to put together touchdown drives, even though they ran the ball good, was because Davis Mills is inaccurate and was inconsistent, in my opinion, on certain throws. Too high, too outside, too behind him. To me, and he only walked away with 1 interception, which is 2 interceptions in this game. And so, I think Davis, I really don't even think he would be really that great of a backup, to be honest with you. But he is a backup, in my opinion. And I understand the Texans is a bad team, so anytime a bad player do something that's slightly good, we have a tendency to be like, oh, that's so great. But Davis Mills is definitely not going to be the quarterback of the Texans if they get a top pick in the draft. They're definitely drafting a quarterback. I could just tell you that right now. If you are somebody who do not watch the Texans and you thinking to yourself, like, I wonder how good Davis, he ain't not a franchise quarterback. I'm not hating. I'm glad he being able to make this money right now, get this shine. But yeah, the Texans are going to have to replace the quarterback. Now, Brandon Cooks didn't play in this game for the Texans. I guess he wasn't happy that he wasn't traded at the deadline. And it is actually interesting that no teams went out there. You know, you think like a team like the Packers would try to make a trade for him or something like that. I guess they were saying something about his contract. But I don't give a fuck about no contract, bro. If a team really wanted him, if they thought they could contend, I think they should go get him. Now, I'm hearing people say, like, yo, a receiver ain't the only thing that would help the Packers. Yes, the fuck it would. If the Packers had Devontae Adams, if this roster for the Packers, as currently constructed, had Devontae Adams, like the only thing you add is Devontae Adams, this team would have be number one in the division. I'm just telling you, I watch the Packers damn near every week. This is not a team that's atrocious on defense. Their defense would be better if the offense would be better. The offense can't score. The offense have a lot of 3-and-outs now. Aaron Rodgers done thrown more picks recently than he usually throw. It's a lot going against a defense that probably was this same defense last year, but you cover up some of their flaws because the offense was great. Now you have an offense that's not even competent. And so now people trying to blame everything on the defense. It's not just the defense. If you add Devontae Adams right now, this Packer team would be in the playoffs and a top team in the NFL. The Packers needed a receiver. It is so very clear that the problem with this team is the fact that they don't have a receiver. And I understand some people saying, well, you know, bro, they need multiple receivers. No, they don't. They just need one number one receiver. That's why I'm shocked they didn't go after DJ Moore. That's why. Now, I'm not necessarily shocked they didn't go after Brandon Cooks, because he is a shorter receiver. I do think he have a concussion problem at times. But I do think he hella productive. Great deep ball, getting to the deep ball. I don't really know why people didn't really go after Brandon Cooks. He wasn't even like somebody people talked about until like the day of. But that is a person you would think that the Packers would try to go after, but they didn't. I'm shocked they didn't go after DJ Moore. I'm shocked they didn't go after what's my man's name? What's this motherfucker's name? Chase Claypool. Like it's receivers that was out there that I thought they would have went after, and they didn't go after none of them. So, you know, that's very interesting if you're a Green Bay Packer fan. That's very interesting. But like I said, the people who saying it's all these multiple different problems with the Packers, I don't agree. It's just the fact that they don't have a fucking receiver, and Aaron Rodgers don't trust none of his receivers. And so that's what it is. If they had Devontae Adams, this team would be winning games right now, bro. It's not all these other issues that people want to try to make it seem like it is. But on the Eagles side of the ball, the Eagles played a good game. I know there's going to be people talking about, the Eagles had a close game with the Houston. Listen, bro, it's the NFL. On a short week, this shit happens. I think the Eagles had a good game. They did what they needed to do to win this game. Sometimes when you win these type of little dog fights, because it's a short week, you're not 100%. As long as you find a way to get out with the dub. And Jalen Hurts didn't put together no ugly, hideous game and just had to find a way to scratch and claw. Nah, they did what they did with limited possessions. Dallas Goedert had a very good night tonight. And if you really looked at this game, Jalen Hurts really didn't struggle. Neither did the offense. They did pretty much whatever they wanted to. I think they only had like 2 or 3 3-and-outs. And probably not even that many. To me, good win for the Eagles. You keep it pushing. Now you got a elongated vacay, basically. So that was a great win to me for the Eagles. Every win is a great win to me in a sense. But the Texans, they should be trying to get a number one pick in the draft. I can't really necessarily remember who they competing with to get that number one pick in the draft. But yeah, that's what they own. That's the timing they own. Bro, let's get into these week 9 matchups, bro. These week 9 matchups. The 1 o'clock games. 3-5 Green Bay, who we was just talking about, headed to Detroit to take on the 1-6 Detroit Lions. Boy. The Detroit. Now, I'm gonna be honest. I wanted to pick Detroit to win this game. I really did. Because as bad as Detroit's defense is, their offense is better than the Packers' offense. However, the defense being is. I understand the defense is as bad as it is. I do understand that. I just don't know how the Packers are going to exploit this defense. Like, that's how bad I think the Packers offense is, where as bad as the Lions offense, as bad as the Detroit Lions defense is, I don't know how. Because here's the thing, the Lions can take big leads on teams. They just continue to have one of the worst defenses I've ever seen and just let teams just go crazy to come back in games. So you know what? I'm going to take the Lions in this game. I'm going to go on a stretch, and I'm going to take the Lions in this game. And this is the only reason why. Why the Lions defense is god-awful. Who on the fucking Packers is going to help? Oh, you know what? This could be the game. Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon both go for 100 yards on this defense. And it's the type of defense where them dink and dunks to Aaron Jones would probably go for big crazy. You know what? I'm going to take the Packers, actually. And I imagine the Packers will go down big in this game at some point in time. But I'm imagining that this is going to be a huge game for Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. And I'm imagining this will be a big game for Aaron Jones, rushing touchdown, like rushing-wise and receiving-wise. So I'm going to take Aaron Jones and the Packers and them boys to win this game. And I'm going to be real fucking pissed off when the Packers get smoked on Sunday. The 4-3 Chargers head to Atlanta to take on the 4-4 Falcons. So, I can take... Oh, bro. You remember when I said that I think they overthrow with Justin Herbert? Bro, let me break that down for you. So, because I was thinking this the other day when I was watching somebody else play too. I'm like, yo, you throwing these passes on these downs right here to like boost his yardage and his stats. But you literally could have ran the ball on this down right here and you had a higher probability of not getting it. You probably would have gotten it, but because you are so committed to dick sucking your quarterback instead of actually winning and putting your quarterback in a winning situation and trusting that if you put him in a winning situation, he'll still shine, you try to create these situations to have your quarterback be great, and they backfire. And I think that's one of the problems that's going on in San Diego, and with the Chargers right now. So many times. That's why Justin Herbert throw the ball so fucking much. So many times. And I done made the excuse for Justin Herbert, oh, he don't have a running game that's like a legitimate, consistent run game. But it's a lot of quarterbacks with good teams who don't have consistent run games. So that's truly not an excuse. And they don't have the talent around them that Herbert has. One of the problems with Herbert, to me, is he got a coach that is not as disciplined as he should possibly be. And I defended, Brandon Staley, but some of these play calls is just fucking stupid. Not only is some of these play calls stupid, it's as if he called plays because he regret not calling a certain play to boost Justin Herbert previously. It's like, oh man, I called this run play, and we lost yards, or we didn't get as many yards as we could have got if I had to just let Justin Herbert throw. So you know what? The next three plays is gonna be pass plays. It don't matter what the situation is. It don't matter if a run play make more sense. And then sometimes it's not even creativeness in the passing game. It's just, I think it's sometimes they call plays over there in San Diego just because of how the world already done claimed Justin Herbert the next coming of Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady. So now we call plays so we can make him live up to that. And I think that's one of the problems that's going on with the Chargers. However, I do think the Chargers are going to end up winning this game. Now, I do think this will end up being a closer game than a lot of people think it will be. For the simple reason, I do think Keenan Allen will be back also. But he got to get at least a game or two under his belt to get back in NFL shape. So I don't think now DeAndre Hopkins didn't need a game or two. That motherfucker came out the gate swinging. But, listen, I also want to say I regret not buying that cake that I was going to buy tonight. I want to put that out there. Yeah, my fat ass regret not buying that cake. But anyways, I do think the Chargers end up winning this game, but I think it'll be a close game. Now, what's interesting to me is the Chargers got these dudes on defense. The defense ain't special, kind of like it is over there with them Raiders. So, very interesting. Now, I love Khalil Mack. I think he done had a good season so far with the Chargers. I just don't think the Chargers is like, when the Chargers made these additions in the offseason, we thought that this defense would be like the Broncos defense before they was trading motherfuckers away. We thought it'd be like the Cowboys defense. You know what I'm saying? And it haven't been that, in my opinion. And the offense haven't really been, and I know some people are going to say, well, you know, they got injuries and whatnot. They still have great players on that team, bro. So I'm not trying to hear all that shit. But nonetheless, I think the Chargers will find ways to make this game harder for themselves than it has to be. And so that's the only reason I'm saying it's going to be a closer game than it probably should be. Because I do think if the Chargers I'm at that point now where I do think if the Chargers had another head coach, they could possibly be winning these games cleaner, easier, and probably can, because I don't think the Chargers are going to, and that's why I didn't pick them to win the division this year. I told you, the Chiefs are going to win this division because the Chiefs been there, done that. The Chiefs, when they get creative on offense, to me, it make a lot of sense. It's not them just trying to stuff Pat Mahomes stats. They've done that before. They went through that phase before, and they was punting. They got punished for it. They haven't done that shit in a long time. Like, to me, people who hate on Pat Mahomes is not watching these games. Pat Mahomes, what he do is necessary for that offense to be what it is. I don't think that's the same case for Justin Herbert over there. I actually think in ways sometimes it feel like he getting held back because of bad play calling. But you know, that's just me. But I do have the Chargers winning that game. Minnesota, Washington. Minnesota 6-1, Washington 4-4. Listen, I done talked about Minnesota before. I know they're a 6-1 team. I like the addition of TJ Hawkinson, even though I don't know how much he will be used the way I think he should be used. Just because I don't really trust Kirk Cousins, bro. But listen, I do think they'll end up winning this game. Now, like I said about the last game, I think Chase, what's my man's name? Chase Young? I think he was just activated for Washington. Now, Washington have players on the defense. So if Washington's defenders decide to wake up and have a dominant days across the board, they could make this a tough game for Washington. I mean, for Minnesota. And to be honest with you, Minnesota probably do one, but I'm still going to pick Minnesota to win this game because I don't think this is the game that... Now, the thing about Minnesota is because I don't really think of them as... I understand they have a 6-1 record, and I'm going to respect that they had that record, but I don't think this is a team. And I've watched some of these Minnesota games. I'm not going to lie to you and say I don't watch all of them, but I don't watch about 2-3 Minnesota games. I don't think Minnesota is really... A Super Bowl contending team is the extreme, and I obviously don't think they're that. But I don't even think they whatever the next level would be before you get to that. Like, I don't think Minnesota, like, to me, the furthest Minnesota is getting is probably a first-round knockout or something. And the worst part about this is they have the talent to where you think to yourself, man, if these dudes go crazy, they can make a deep run. I agree. Only if they had a different quarterback. I just cannot get fully behind Kirk Cousins because I done seen him over the last couple years with all the talent in the world around him, and he just not be able to do it. So I don't believe fully in Minnesota. And also Minnesota's defense. It's a good defense. I don't think that's a defense that's really knocking me off of my feet saying and Minnesota's defense is a good defense. I do like Minnesota's defense, but to me, it's not like Dallas's defense. You know what I'm saying? Not one defense that I don't even think people really. Actually, no, I'll save that for later. But I do got Minnesota. I do have Minnesota winning that game. Carolina 2-6 headed into Cincy to take on the former 4 Cincinnati Bengals. I got Cincinnati winning this game. Now, I don't even know if this will be... Nah, I do think this will be a closer game, but this could end up being a blowout, and it's not indicative of how good Carolina's defense is and the players they have. I just think it's in Cincinnati. And so Cincinnati going to need this win because they cannot continue to lose games and fall back in the division of Baltimore. Especially if they lose and then Baltimore beats the Saints. So I really think this is an important game for Cincinnati, even as early in the season as it may be to some people. So I do think Cincy going to get this one at home. Now, I'm torn on if I really think this is going to be a close game or not, because I do think this could be a close game just based off of the fact I don't think Cincinnati's offense is good. If they can't hit the deep ball, then this offense is an average offense to me. They do a lot of dinking and dunking. They don't really like to commit to the run game. It's an average offense. And if you do that, I think Carolina, if they can lock out that deep ball and shut the deep ball down, which they have a better chance of doing, seeing as how it's no Jamar Chase, that's what make me think this could be a closer game. Now, I don't think Carolina will win it because I think Carolina need to figure out ways to convincingly play hard and lose. But this could be a very closer game than people would have thought it could have been, because Carolina's defense is way better than people think. Like, I know Carolina's record is atrocious, and Carolina's offense ain't that great, even though it's been better in the last couple of weeks with P.J. Walker. Carolina's defense is great. Like, they have a great defense, and I don't want to say they got a great defense right now, but they have a lot of this defense has the potential to be let me put it like this. If this team had an actual great quarterback at the helm, this defense would be one of the best defenses in the NFL. And so I do think they have the potential to make this a very long, exhausting day for Joe Burrow, but that's because I think they can do that for every quarterback. But I'm not, I understand that in Cincinnati, they could have one of them days where just everything goes Cincinnati's way. But it's just hard for me to see that because Cincinnati's lack of, and for one, Joe Burrow done been sacked damn near 30 times already on the season. They on pace to get him sacked more times than he got sacked last year. I think he got sacked like 59 times last year. Like, they getting this man told to fuck up. Shout out to him for not getting hurt, because I don't know how they said they was there to protect him, and they lied. They getting that man killed out there, but shout out Joe Burrow. But I do got Cincinnati winning that game. Indy, 3-4-1, headed into New England to take on the 4-4 Patriots. This is an interesting game because I saw somebody on TV today say that they thought the Indianapolis Colts was gonna make the playoffs, bro. I'm dead ass serious. Somebody said that they thought this was a team that could still make the play. That's crazy to me. I don't see it, but maybe who knows. I'm going to take Indy to win this game, though. No, I'm not. I'm taking the Patriots. And I don't even really want to take the Patriots because I just don't like the Patriots' offense. But I think the Patriots' offense will figure something out. The biggest thing is I think the Patriots' defense will give Sam Ehlinger a long day, because they have one of the dudes who tied for the lead in sacks, and Matt Judon. I really like the Patriots' defense at times. I think they wreak havoc for young quarterbacks, and I think that's what's going to happen with Sam Ehlinger. Plus, I just don't think the Colts is really as good a team as they show themselves to be on defense at times. Excuse me. To be honest with you, the Colts need to be one of them teams that's trying to lose games so they can get a quarterback. You know what I'm saying? They got to be tired of playing this fucking quarterback carousel. And I just want to point out, I keep seeing people say that, man, it's not fair to say Frank Wright and, the GM is not great because they never had a quarterback. Bro, they the ones who keep going after these quarterbacks, telling people, selling them on them that these is going to be the dudes to take them to the next level. Bro, stop it, bro. I done seen other people get far less to work with and make far less bad decisions, and they still got thrown out. Stop it. But I'm taking the Patriots to win that. Buffalo, 6-1, headed into New York to take on, headed into East Rutherford to take on the New York Jets, who are 5-3. Now, the Jets, I think, got like a top 5 pass defense, bro. Look at the Jets. The Jets got a lot going for them. The only thing they got holding back right now is the quarterback, and that's funny to me. That's funny to me because, could you imagine if Lamar, I ain't figured it out. But obviously I'm taking the Bills to win this game. I know the Bills looked rocky in that second half against the Packers. Listen, Josh Allen can look rocky in this one. I do think the Jets have a great defense. The problem with the Jets is that quarterback, man. I have no faith whatsoever in Zach Wilson. Turn the ball over too much, man. I think that's a problem. I don't even think that they called a game based off of like, oh, we got faith in Zach Wilson. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they could run the ball the entirety of the game, they would. And at this point, it'd be hard to blame them with how much Zach Wilson gives the ball to the other team. And I think that's going to kill him in this game. I really think Zach Wilson is going to have a rough game. I think Zach Wilson could walk away 3 or 4 interceptions in this game. And it's so wild to me that the last 2 quarterbacks for the New York Jets, probably the last 3, was turnover prone. I don't know if Geno threw as many interceptions as these other 2 be throwing right now. Like these, poof. Sam Darnold and Zach Wilson, boy, them 2 back to back. You know, the New York Giants turning into the Cleveland Browns quicker than people think. But I got I got Buffalo winning that game, obviously. 5-3 Miami heads to Chicago to take on the 3-5 Chicago Bears. I don't even know if Chase Claypool plays this Sunday, but even if he did, I'm still taking the Dolphins. Bro, you know what I just realized? Tua Tagovailoa might not be an MVP candidate to some people. I understand the pushback on that. You cannot tell me that Tyreek Hill is not clearly an MVP candidate right now. To me, Tyreek Hill is definitely an MVP candidate right now. Bro, the man could pop for 2,000 yards in a season. Like, to me, I know they're not going to give it to him, but I just feel like he should be getting that recognition. Because I can remember all the people who was talking about he wasn't going to be the same receiver without Pat Mahomes, and receiver a dependent position. So even though he is good as he is, he's not going to be that great because he ain't got Pat no more. Like, just straight up dissing my boy. Disrespecting him. Now look at you. But I do think I'm taking Miami in this game. Miami is the better team. I love the Bradley Chubb move. I don't know if he playing on Sunday either. I imagine that they'll take a week before those dudes play, but I could be wrong. They could probably have him in on packages like they did for Christian McCaffrey. Who knows? But I think Miami getting Bradley Chubb is big because their defense do give up these big plays and shit. Like, they just do dumb shit in games. It's crazy how they lock up towards the back end of games. They just start off the games bad. But I don't think this will be one of them weeks where they got to worry about going nuts with, like, giving up the points, because I just don't think that the Bears have that type of offensive firepower. You know, it's times where, you know how I said if you want to get your offense on track, play against the Ravens? I don't even think the Bears would be able to figure out how to get. Like, to me, the Bears offense would get on track against the Ravens by just dinking and dunking and the Ravens missing tackles left and right, which I find that hard to believe would happen now that we got Roquan Smith. But I just don't think the Bears offense will be able to muster up enough points to keep up with Miami, because if Miami get it going, that is a tough fucking offense to keep up with when they can get both of them speed demons going. So I'm taking Miami. Plus Tua is him. Now, I ain't going to say Tua is him yet, but Tua obviously make this offense a better offense. Do you see this offense with Tua compared to seeing this offense with those other quarterbacks they had at the helm? Stop it. Stop disrespecting that man. And bro, look at the poise of Tua, bro. Man had to fight off them Deshaun Watson rumors last year. Now look, man, Tua balling, bro. Next up, we got the 2-5 Las Vegas Raiders headed in Jacksonville to take on the 2-6 Jacksonville. Now, I'm going to pick the Raiders, bro, even though I keep picking these motherfuckers over the last 2 weeks and they keep losing. So who knows? Let's go ahead and make it a 3-for-3. I'm taking the Raiders to go into Jacksonville to win. The reasons being, do I like the head coach of the Raiders? Absolutely not. Do I trust Derek Carr? Absolutely not. However, and the Raiders defense ain't defensing. Like, the Raiders defense has not been the defense that I thought they were going to be to start this year, period. But ultimately, I have no faith. Now, I don't want to say faith. I have no trust right now in Trevor Lawrence. I have to see Trevor Lawrence not only play a strong game, but a strong, complete turnover-free game. Like, the turnovers in key spots just have to stop. The turnovers, period, have to stop. I ain't even saying they got to stop because I understand turnovers happen, but they have to happen they need to happen way more less frequent. That's all I'm going to say. But I am going to take the Raiders because I think come on, 1 reception for 3 yards last week, that just cannot happen. That cannot happen. Like, I'm not going to lie. That I would understand Devontae Adams being pissed off. Like, if a quarterback come to me and say, bro, I didn't want to get honed in on, just throwing you the ball. That's probably why. Then I'm saying, like, bro, we need a new quarterback because now your bad play you're putting on other people. Like, you're looking at me and getting me the ball as to why you're making bad throws and bad reads. Like, so now because you made a bad read trying to get me the ball before and threw an interception, now you just gonna miss open reads when I'm there. Like, that can't happen. I don't know. I saw a thing that said they save $100 and something million if they let Derek Carr walk at the end of the season or let him release him. I'm not gonna lie to you, that's probably gonna happen. And I know some people saying, why would that happen if they brought Devontae Adams over? Devontae Adams locked in for the next couple years, so it ain't like he leaving just because they released Derek Carr. But yeah, I don't. And I'm gonna tell you something else. With just 2 wins on the season, shit, watch out for the Raiders. Them motherfuckers might be in the running to get a quarterback in the draft, to be honest with you. They keep losing the way they losing, and Devontae ain't gonna have to worry. He left Green Bay because he didn't want to play. He didn't know the certainty of Aaron Rodgers' future and didn't really want to play with Jordan Love because of where he was at. Might end up still having to play with a young quarterback. Ain't that crazy? But then we get to these 4:00 games. You got Seattle 5-3 headed into Arizona to take on the 3-5 Arizona Cardinals. You already know I'm taking Seattle. It's crazy how I said, listen, I already done admitted I was wrong on Pete Carroll. Dude's a phenomenal head coach. I never questioned that he wasn't a great head coach. I questioned that he got left behind with the times. Clearly, it's easy to prove me wrong on that now because he's finding ways to get DK. Well, listen, I'm not going to give it all credit to Pete Carroll. I'm going to just say Geno done been phenomenal, and I love the fact that they kept I'm not happy because I want DK on the Ravens, but I knew that was never going to happen, so I never really thought too hard about that. But keeping DK and Tyler Lockett, I'm happy everybody else starting to see how great Tyler Lockett is. I've been saying Tyler Lockett is a great receiver. I remember seeing, I think it was Colin Cowherd, say that Tyler Lockett was like a number 3. I was like, this motherfucker clearly haven't never watched this motherfucker play because if you think Tyler Lockett is a number 3 receiver, you're crazy. Like that. That's still one of the wildest comments I have ever heard about it. I'm pretty sure it was him who said that shit. Because I remember that when I heard him say it, I was like, a number 3? I was like, oh, hell nah. This motherfucker. I'm not even a Seahawk fan, bro, and I know he ain't no number 3. Like, what are you doing? That was wild to me. But listen, I'm going to keep rocking with the Seattle offense. Seattle's offense looked great, and I'm going to keep rocking. And as much as I like D-Hop, as great as D-Hop done played on his way back, I don't know what's going on with it. Yeah, yes, I do. The Cardinals offense just is not the offense that everybody thinks and wishes this offense could be. I think a lot of people see a lot of potential in this offense, and they just haven't lived up to this offensive potential that we think and everybody think they can have for the last couple years. And that just is what it is. Listen. We could say that we don't think Kyler Murray is that a franchise or winning franchise quarterback or whatever, or this about Cliff Kingsbury. The fact of the matter is they probably going to be here together with each other for at least the next year or two. At least. I think they're going to be here for the next 2 to 3 years, but who knows? This is an interesting journey for Kyler and these boys because you looking at teams in your division get better. And then you looking at the Seahawks be better than you by just the addition of Geno Smith. Like just Geno Smith moving in at quarterback. And they already seem like a better team than you. You looking at the Rams struggle right now, and you can't even create a real distance between that team that you struggle against. The 49ers not only are a better team than you, but they also got better. Like on paper they got better, and you can see the addition, how much the better the addition made them. So if you're the Cardinals, you could legitimately legitimately see a scenario where you're the worst team in this division. So this is an important win for the Cardinals. They have to establish something. Not only that, you're at home. You cannot let the Seahawks come into your building and win this game. Now, I almost talked myself into picking the Cardinals, but I'm not. I'm sticking with the Seahawks. And the LA Rams, 3-4, head into Tampa Bay to take on the 3-5 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm taking the Bucks. Now, I can't really come up with how the Bucks is still struggling like this when I'm seeing you got so many other players that's done come back from injury and whatnot. All I can say is maybe it is this stress that's going on with Brady in his personal life. I don't know. I can kind of explain the Rams struggling like they are to an extent with all the different additions, subtractions to the roster over the last, since the Super Bowl and all these other type of things. But ultimately, I told you, if you cannot figure out how to get another receiver over here or get the running game going, Matthew Stafford having to throw the ball as much as he threw the ball in some of these games is just not going to be a recipe for success. He turned the ball over a lot when he was young, and he wasn't a quarterback who was going to get you there if he threw the ball a whole bunch when he was in his prime. So there's no way he's going to do it now. And he found lightning in a bottle last year. The clock was able to strike 12, and he got the most out of it. But that is not going to repeat itself if they don't figure out how to get a running back in this motherfucker. I don't know how to... The Rams might not have had the capital to go make a trade, which is, you really hate those fuck them picks now. But I don't understand why they didn't try to bring in a running back at the deadline. I saw the thing where it was like Cam Akers said he don't think playing for this team is what's in the best interest of his career. I don't even think they give a fuck at this point. Like, they'll probably freely bench this dude. So I'm just interested to see what the Rams, because I don't think the Rams is going to be a good team the rest of the season. If it's a thing about when your offense is as bad as some of these teams' offenses are, it don't matter how good the defense is. The Broncos have had great defenses the last couple years. The offenses have been god-awful. So nobody cares. And the defense, it don't matter in an offensive league, because great offenses can still find ways to win ugly. A bad offense is not winning ugly most of the time. And so they don't win good. So they're not winning ugly. And so I think right now, the biggest thing for LA is they got to figure out, I'm going to be honest with you. And I know I done said this for a couple teams, but I'm going to say it for the Rams. And I hate to say this because my boy Aaron Donald, I love Aaron Donald, and he played for the Rams. That's one of my favorite players in the NFL, and I don't want to see him losing. But the Rams might need to let Aaron Donald get paid the rest of the year and take the year off if he want to take the year off, and lose on purpose to get a first pick in their draft. They don't even have a draft pick. So, you know what? I actually don't think that matters. The Rams have got to hit the panic button. But for the Buccaneers, I told you, Atlanta's only keeping that first place seat warm for Tampa to get hot. It starts this week. Tampa Bay is getting back on track. They will win this division. I'm picking Tampa Bay to win this game. The Sunday Night Football is the Titans, 5-2, headed into Kansas City to take on the 5-2 Kansas City Chiefs. Excuse me. Taking the Chiefs, man. Listen, and I thought about this game heavy. Before I just took the Chiefs, I said to myself, could Derrick Henry run amok through the Kansas City defense? And I do think he could. But I do think Kansas City get up to play Derrick Henry. Like, they take pride in not letting Derrick Henry run crazy against them. And I don't think this will be one of them run crazy type. And I don't even think Tannehill playing. Or maybe he healthy enough to play this game. I'm not for sure, but I'm still taking the Chiefs to win this game. Because, listen, I think the Chiefs done figure out how to get their offense going. And what's the sweet spot for them now that they done figured out how to be a consistent offense and how to score without Tyreek kills big plays. They done figured out who can get the big plays for him now. So I think their offense is kind of hitting its stride. As much as I would like to say Derrick Henry gonna run crazy on this offense, on this Chiefs defense, I don't think he will. Now I could end up being wrong because that is Derrick Henry, but I don't think he's gonna have a crazy game against these dudes. So I'm taking the Chiefs to win it. In the Monday Night Football game, the 5-3 Ravens head to New Orleans to take on the 3-5 Saints. Come on, bro, stop playing with me. You know who I'm taking in that game. I'm taking the Saints. Come on, bro. Stop playing with me. Baltimore's winning that game. We're going to move to 6-3. And the rest is history. With that, I appreciate y'all for joining me on another episode of Kicking It with Saint. Tell somebody you fuck with them. Tell somebody you love them. Saint out.
I got the moves like hot sauce. Lil' mama taking the top off. I'm laying down getting topped off. After this, she know she getting knocked off. I know she loving the money, so I keep on thumbing and thumbing. She say she horny when she taking shots, so I keep them coming and coming. Now I'm putting dick in her tummy, scoop her up like I'm raking her something. You would think shawty red track, the way that she running and running. You getting dumber and dumber, you out here chasing the bone. After she finished from giving me dome, the Uber is taking her home. Tight.